every city you burn, I'm gonna build one high.
Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and it is May 19th, YC128. This is the Eve Universe Show. Welcome, 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 guys. How's it going? We are here in Manifest for the first time. For those of you who do not know, this is the new region of Exordium, the new player-friendly, zone that CCP has introduced. Obviously, it's still a little bit wonky. The full extent of what is going to be here won't come in until the expansion on the 9th, if I remember correctly. But Exordium is open, and we will be exploring as much as we can today. There is some funny stuff about it. There's some new things to check out. There is, it opened before FanFest 2027, so we're all good to go. They told the truth. It's fine. Welcome in, guys. Like the stream, settle in. We do have quite a bit to cover today. We're going to poke around a little bit in Exordium and see what we have to see. But before all that, we are going to cover the New Eden news. Thus far, the breakout was not proven to be a full genocide. No payback escalation is needed. Yeah, well, they even said during the breakout stuff, they said that, like, while we were destroying those other ones, a whole other fleets were able to escape. So they played out from the very beginning that, like, the Syndicate is not down and out or anything like that. We have a lot to talk about today. We do not have a trial to talk about, however. So let's go ahead and jump into first. Is there anything important to look at here? I did appreciate the fact that I could show off my my Odysseus without fear of somebody coming and ganking me in the middle of the stream. Or the opening. That felt nice. There is currently 34 people in Exordium, including CCP, one CCP member. And I say CCP because it is CCP, not FC. Somebody drugged the witness and drugged the admiral. Yeah, we're going to cover some of the stuff. Some people have died in Exordium. That's true, but we kind of know how. So it wasn't like it wasn't a gank. That's what's important. All right, let's jump into the New Eden news. This is your New Eden news for May 19th, YC128. Sylphy and Diabel escapes from custody. You got an awesome wanted poster now. Sylphy and Diabel has escaped from custody while en route to her trial on New Caldari Prime. The unofficial leader of the Intaki Syndicate disappeared when the armored convoy that was transporting her was ambushed. While the state peacekeepers guarding the convoy quickly eliminated the attackers, and Diabel was able to escape during the confusion. 2 Intaki Syndicate members who were served as witnesses at the trial were assassinated during the escape. Whether they were killed by Diabel or the ambushers is unclear at this time. The witnesses were expected to present key evidence of Diabel's involvement in the recent Jita Gate incident. General Nori Rukin, commander of the state peacekeepers, has called the ambush, quote, a cowardly act of terrorism, end quote. A full investigation into the incident is underway. Early evidence suggests that Intaki Syndicate agents infiltrated the convoy, hacking into the transport in which Diabel was being held as the guards fought off the attack. Rukin wants to assure all Caldari that, quote, no matter where Sylphy has run, we will track her down and bring her to justice. Following the escape, Haikatorigo has been assigned to continue to oversee operations in the Syndicate region. The CEP has tasked her with ensuring the development of new infrastructure, dismantling the now criminal Intaki Syndicate, and capturing Diabel. According to Torigo, valuable data recovered from Capsuleers have already helped the state identifying key targets. This data came from documentation reclaimed from capital shipwrecks left behind following the Syndicate members' attempts to escape into Federation space. Torigo wanted to give special thanks to Margaret, Otomo, and Remelia. I don't know Remelia's last name. For delivering over 1,000 data sheets in the state's hands. Quote, the process will be a long one, but we Caldari are not afraid of doing the work. End quote. News in brief. State peacekeepers begin arresting Syndicate loyalists as part of security sweeps. Syndicate residents offered Megacorp employment as part of rejuvenation efforts. Empires prepare to rush new prototypes into field as Warpath conflict continues to escalate. Gate to Exordium opens. Fireworks unleash in manifest celebration. First Capsuleer's death registered in Exordium. Concord promises to tighten protocols. Jita hosts series of Capsuleer events as new administration promises a return to stability. Core Complexion Inc., Calichiota, Duval Laboratories, and Cartham Conglomerate unveil plans for enhanced carriers at Jita Trade Hub Military Exhibition. Caldari citizens formally request publishing of Jita details. CEP approval ratings drop. New Eden's prominent creators celebrate at a gala award ceremony held in Jita Trade Hub. And that is it for your New Eden news for today, but now for some analysis. Obviously, this is a big one. We knew, they said earlier in the during the previous event or previous announcement, previous news article, when Jita officially became part of the held by Concord, I think it was. We see, was it not here? Was it earlier? Maybe it was earlier. They specified that the trial for Ndayabel was going to be set for the 19th. Now I can't find it. Oh well, whatever. Did I not wait? Hold on. Did I not grab that piece of news? God, hold on a second. All this preparation and I messed up. Hold on. As usual. Nothing new here. When they arrested her, they set the trial. Really? No? All right, whatever. The scope video had the date? Ah, all right, cool. Was there a scope video? I spent like an hour setting things up today, and then, oh, okay, so the Syndicate breakout. Yeah, there it is. There's the trial set. Okay, great. Either way, we're going to look at this. So Sylphy Ndayabel is the unofficial leader of the Intaki Syndicate. We've talked about her a few times already. I even put out an older video that analyzes Sylphy that I made like a couple years ago. So you can go and check that out if you want to. She's a fairly big character. She has also a lot of connections, which is why this twist is kind of interesting. Most specifically, Sylphy Ndayabel has worked with the Reverend Mother of the SOE previously. That's kind of how she managed to get to power. And there are some ties between the Syndicate, SOE, potentially Mortis Legion, and Intaki. Or sorry, not Intaki. Ishikone, which we've also explored in previous tinfoil episodes. And so this idea that someone broke her out is very interesting. To go a little bit back, we're going to get to Exordium after this part. But so to go all the way back a little bit, we see, and we might be going a little bit too far back. This is actually a very interesting thread to kind of pull on, in my opinion, which is why we've kind of kept coming back to this in these videos. But a lot of it starts with the holoclone stuff to a certain extent, because we have the information about Upwell, which Upwell is kind of tangential to all of this. Upwell and Air both are very interesting pieces to this whole puzzle. Upwell was working on some research that went haywire. This was during the Crimson Harvest. But we also see that the Home Guard presents results of secret investigation to closed CEP session. So this starts with, in my opinion, it starts with this, okay? So there's some sort of weird investigation going on involving the Home Guard. The CEP know about it by October, all right? And then in November 26th, so a month later, we're now going towards the winter event, which, remember, the winter event had the Yule Lads, and we received emails or Eve mails or whatever accusing the Yule Lads of being part of some secret project with Orr and Upwell, which, remember, the attack on Jita Stargates involved kind of the Drifter hyperspace network, and more importantly, the fractures, the hyperspace fractures that come around the prismaticite sites that seem to be connected to the Drifter wormholes, that also seem to be connected to research and development by Outer Ring excavations. And so, you know, the fact that the sabotage, the attack, the whatever, seems to be related to this same technology is highly suspicious, especially when we see these, so during the winter event, we have Sancha utilizing metaliminal storms in order to get around to harvest stuff. And this year we have Interbus and a different, other groups within Upwell. Sorry, Interbus is Evermore, not Upwell. Wait, whoa. I just realized that. We're talking about Evermore now. So that's different than Upwell. Gosh darn it. That's right. Okay, hold on. So Evermore, which is different from Upwell, I shouldn't be making that mistake of anybody, begins to do this research around the metaliminal storms and the Sancha stuff, right? And we see now in December 4th, so getting to be the beginning of the winter event, we do see the beginnings of the fractures, which is, of course, the prismaticite sites, the phase fields, that's what they're called. And the surprise that Orr already had access to that information, or, to stuff to be able to use the phase fields. Upwell and Orr are connected, Orr is part of Upwell, and is in partnership with Edencom. So that's another piece to kind of, both of these guys, both Upwell and Evermore, are kind of connected in all this, although Upwell definitely has a stronger connection to the Edencom and the Drifter Hive research. Evermore tried to go after the Drifter Hives, but they got shut out and really haven't gotten a good foothold since then. Yes, you can't use microwarp drives in Manifest around the stations. That has been stated as a bug. Again, we're going to get into all of the Manifest stuff after this. But yeah, so Evermore begins to do, or gets their connections to the winter event and tracing after the Sanchez guy, as Upwell is digging deeper and deeper into the fractured sites, the phased fields, etc. But we also see here that community leaders in Jita joined PK, celebrating 6 years of HyperNet Relay. Not necessarily related. Obviously, PK and Interstellar closely tied to Jita 4.4. That would be Light-Eye's group. And so they're just kind of happy. It's been 6 years since the Jita renovation and the creation of the HyperNet Relay, which is, remember, so here's a weird thing about all this, because the HyperNet in universe has a connection there, and it or has a physical building in Jita 4.4 area, and is connected to hyperspace through weird means. And so who knows, maybe that could be somehow connected to how Jita 4.4 Stargates got blown up, but likely not. What we do see is Verity enhancements, develop new logistical automation delivery drone tech. This is the thing. That's the Yule Lads that Evermore eventually gets kind of called out for. Verity enhancements being the one of the groups, one of the things that Evermore, one of the corporations that Evermore created when they got restructured from Interbus into Evermore. And then we see, I think that's it for this. So then later on, in February, we see Minmatar increase military budgets as Gallente governor courts robotic controversy. So this is the very first piece of the Gallente election. And this is when I think that it actually properly gets started. Okay. This is where the conspiracy begins, or, whatever you want to call it. This is where the election begins. This is where this plot thread really starts in a lot of ways, I think. We've talked about this a few times before, but if we come here, we see CEP representatives meet with JITA executives over administrative funds. This is likely more about that same investigation that we saw at the very beginning, right? Homeguard presents results of secret investigation to close CEP. Then CEPs meet with JITA executives over administrative funds. Yep. And then, so then when Agard, wait, hold on. Did I get this wrong? 1213. Yeah, shoot. I got this backwards. I'm sorry. Before that, we have the Evermore defends subsidiary against accusations of self-proclaimed whistleblowers. So Evermore is denying their connection to the Verity or denying the whole thing about the ULADS thing. Again, now that I'm looking at this again, it may or may not even be relevant to all this. Although Evermore definitely does become relevant to the JITA 4.4 thing later. But we do see. Okay, that's it, though, for this. So it's not that big of a deal. When Celsagar gets impeached. So jumping back ahead, when Rodin starts her bid for the Gallente election, which was the official beginning of the kind of the build up to the election or whatever, we do see here that leaked Caldari reports shows anomalies between revenues received by state versus taxes charged. So they are seeing that there is this financial malfeasance. Yeah, the shipcasters are currently under construction. You can go check them out. You have a lot of confidence for the lore dev. I mean, I'm not sure what you mean by that, but it's their job to make all this stuff work out. And there has been, I mean, we know that they've been kind of putting these pieces in for at least a little while, but this does bring up an interesting point, which is that this story does kind of seem to come a little bit out of nowhere because of this line here. Individuals with alleged connection to Intaki Syndicate arrested in JITA to face trial. I've said this before. This is, as far as I know, the beginning of the connection between the Syndicate and what is happening. I have gone back and forth for like a year or two before this event to see if there's any moment where this could be hinted at. And that's one of the reasons why I'm showing these other pieces about the financial malfeasance and the connections between Evermore and Upwell, because those are the only precursors I can find to this exact event. It really does begin with them being arrested. And so then the next thing, now 2 weeks later, because the Lucas profile actually doesn't have anything particularly interesting for this event that I can find, but the Alex one does. We do see Caldari Business Tribunal agents investigate missing funds. So this investigation is continued to go forward. And here is where we get confirmation that it has to do with tampering with the JITA Stargate. Syndicate members denounced by organization following being found guilty of attempted Stargate tampering. So the Intaki Syndicate members that were arrested in JITA were arrested because of attempted Stargate tampering. We don't actually know when this Stargate tampering began, because we only see when the trial is announced, which was in February 18th, and then by March 10th, the trial was completed and the members are denounced because it says found guilty, right? And if we go here, hold on, I want to check something real quick. Okay, I was trying to figure out if there's any statement, and somebody can correct me if there's any statement at all about how many people were arrested. I thought it was 2, but I don't know if I can find that 100%. And obviously there's so much other news going on during this time that, whatever. Yeah, it could have been, this could have been a smuggling issue, but because that's the thing, is that, well, we'll get there. So then at the election, now on the election day, that's when kind of everything kicks into high gear. So Alex becomes, president of the Federation, but we also see House of Records and Caldari Business Tribunal report rumored to indicate Jita lies at the heart of state corruption. So once again, everything's kind of coming down to this corruption and finances and stuff, which again, you could go back to the creation of the Jita 4.4 trade hub, rework by Lidai or by the PKN. There has been accusations about financial malfeasance since all the way back then, but I don't think these are related. These don't seem to be overly related. They're years apart, and this doesn't seem to go that far back as far as I know. Yeah, no, they said 2 witnesses. That's why I'm trying to figure out whether or not those are the same people. But we also see that Evermore jumps in immediately and begins to kind of get involved in this whole thing in a way that is damaging to the Caldari and advancing their own efforts, because we see that Evermore steps in to help stabilize the whole situation, right? And then of course, how long? 11 days later, the protests are start to become bigger, and Ducasi steps in. Wait, hold on. Did I just skip the Stargate being blown up part? Hold on. That's funny. All right. Yeah. So 421. So 4 days after the president's election. Yeah. We have the gates into Jita damaged as tensions between empires rise. So this is where we see that weird anomaly in space, and we see the big fracture line that shows that this was connected to the Drifter Hyperspace Network and the Drifter Hive research stuff, which again, as we've talked about many times, the Caldari are very, very quick to point out that this is connected to the Gallente and the Intaki Syndicate, who both do not have access to the Drifter Hives, so cannot be the main threat. Now, my personal pet theory is that the Amar are the ones involved in all this, and we have some. That's a whole tinfoil thing. As I've said, we've covered this in multiple episodes previously. But the point of the matter is that this attack is, or this event is the catalyst for everything that's kind of going on right now. Where this attack on Jita, even though it doesn't actually stop the gates in, it was this catastrophic event that killed thousands of people. and was seen by the state as an attack. But then the chairman Akimaka Saraki steps in and accuses it of being Gallente controlled accounts as part of this larger JITA malfeasance. All of those research that we were just looking at, there's this whole thing about some sort of extortion ring or issue with that. Let's see. The ongoing hyperspace manipulation taking place in the system has been redirecting fees and taxes that normally would be paid to the Caldari state, instead diverting them to what the chief executive panel believe are Gallente-controlled accounts. This has turned the Caldari's most profitable system into a significant liability. So there's this whole thing involving this giant conspiracy explodes, including the Stargates, to JITA, and this leads Evermore to step in and try to help negotiate a resolution to the whole problem, right? So, and we see once again members of, or the subgroups within Evermore, specifically IMN, is continuing to broadcast news and kind of fan the flames against the Caldari state in JITA 4.4, showing off, like bringing in support for people, but also showing off how bad it is, how the protests and all that kind of stuff. And at this time, this is when Sylphy and Diabel, the unofficial leader of the Intaki Syndicate, is summoned to New Caldari for an inquest. And then when she arrives for the questioning, she is arrested. So she's summoned on false pretenses. She's arrested by Lydai Protection Services, which, of course, Lydai is Forest Faction. And she is accused of, in March, it does say 2 members. In March, 2 members of the Intaki Syndicate were found guilty of tampering with the JITA gates. The pair were originally convicted of sabotage, but faced further charges of terrorism following the attacks on JITA. As part of the plea agreement, the pair has provided testimony and evidence that confirms that the attack was carried out by the Syndicate agents on Sylphy and Diabel's orders. So these 2 Syndicate guys gets arrested. They do a trial. They're found guilty. Again, there's no evidence of them doing this thing. The first evidence that we have is just them being arrested and all the accusations that come from it. And there's 2 of them. So that's important, because that means it is the same 2 people, almost certainly. And this is kind of what triggers Warpath. And her response, however, her legal representation did read a statement that she had written stating her innocence and informing the authorities not to waste their time on setting up a trial. So this is one of the things that we've been watching this whole time. It seems that Sylphy was brought in on false pretenses and was arrested, but she says not to waste their time on setting up a trial. It always felt like there was another piece to this whole plan, which is important, especially when the other Syndicate guys start getting hunted down, right? We also see the SOE send aid delegations to JITA as humanitarian crisis worsens. Obviously, the SOE sending help in a disaster is not that unusual. That said, it is worth noting that Sylphy and Diabel got her power by cutting off trade or incoming trade to the Poidot station, and then used her connections with the Sisters of Eve to bring in humanitarian support and aid. So the fact that the SOE are involved in this, while obviously the SOE are commonly willing to bring in aid and support in the event of disasters, having Evermore and SOE kind of have their fingers in all of this is somewhat suspicious. We also see that the Reverend Mother, Santamona Sarpati, has declined to comment on Diabel's arrest. Santamona Sarpati is, of course, the sister of the leader of the Serpentis, although they do not seem to like each other. But Santamona Sarpati also has contacts with Sylphy and Diabel and has been very critical of her over time. There is the Chronicle Ante, which is where a lot of this kind of communication comes from. Hold on, let's find that real quick. Ante. In the Chronicle of Yantey, we see Sylphy and Diabel meeting with the Reverend Mother Sarpati, and during this conversation, they're talking about making a deal. Like when they bring down the sensors that like monitor things, and during that time, they talk about where is it? Tell that traitorous son of a bitch that the syndicate isn't going to sit idly by as another government ignores us. And if Menz thinks those pedantic mercenaries are going to hinder our business one bit, he's sorely mistaken. Menz is, of course, Menz Repola, who is the CEO of Ishikone. Leaning forward and composing herself, she spoke calmly. What I mean is that we have something to offer both entities if we're brought in on the deal. And she goes, that depends on what you're offering him. Remember that you have two flanks to address, and in my experience, Moria can be very difficult. So they're also talking about Mordu's Legion. But the thing that we know that they have is the data, right? So the syndicate, they even mention it up here. Where is it? What was it called? Oh no, what was the thing called? She gets called out for doing this ship. Where is it? Will you be here much longer? They're being very candid with each other until the security glitch goes down, and then they're much more direct about things. That's all we need if everything's in place. That crusty old merc refuses to talk to me directly. You'll need to convince him that including us is much easier than locking us out. Yeah, Zephyr. There it is. That's going to be a hard sell. He's not at all happy with your little stunt with the Zephyr shuttles. So basically, the syndicate gave all the Capsuleers these Zephyr shuttles. And using the Zephyr shuttles, they got all sorts of telemetry from wormhole space. And then they say, everybody predict, blah, blah, blah. I think that I have just the thing his cooperation would appreciate. There's a funny story behind those shuttles, by the way. I don't think you have time for it. You're right. You ever miss it every day? Because like the I'm assuming the subterfuge, right? And then they go back to fighting again. So the idea is that they have the from the Zephyrs. From the Zephyrs, they have all this telemetry, and they use that telemetry. They trade that telemetry over to the SOE, and that's what allows the SOE to find Thera. But for some reason, this whole act of doing so is in support to get Menz Repola of Ishikone and Moria Mordu of Mordu's Legion to be on board with this scheme, right? Now, again, this is very long ago. This is 2010. So I'm not talking about, this is obviously not planning this current scheme. But my point is that these are where all these connections are, right? So when we see that Jita 44 Station is tightly connected to Lidai, and there's this whole thing about Ishikone and trying to be disruptive to Lidai's efforts, and Kalakiota potentially, who is the, Kalakiota being the mountain faction, who's largely sided with the ocean faction recently against the forest faction. Akimaka Saraki is connected to that. So this idea of, all these kind of connections come together, which makes me very, very suspicious about Ishikone's connection with all these things, right? So then the Caldari state takes Syndicate region, which is a huge change. Like, it's the first time that it's the first time that one of the empires has forcibly taken null security space. Isn't near the end when she talks to the other guy? Maybe. Yeah, exactly. Consolidate all the data received from the Zephyr program, everything those oblivious capsuleers have given us on wormhole space. Prepare the data cores for immediate transport. A representative from the Sisters of Eve will be arriving shortly to take possession. LeConte nodded. I think you really nailed this one, Sylphy. That's precisely the kind of token Ishikone won't be able to resist. So yeah, this was her way of kind of buying out Ishikone, or allegiance with Ishikone, and indirectly Mortis Legion thanks to that, which is, interesting. I say Zephyr ship is proof that they were friends with Jova and SOCT. I don't think so. I think the Zephyr was created by Syndicate. All right, so we see this massive campaign by the state to just destroy everything that could possibly be going on with the Syndicate. They start sweeping through the area. Long have we, the Caldari, and the exiled Intaki of Syndicate been kindred spirits. Your forebearers acted against the crushing weight of the Federation control, just as ours did. 2 years ago, we made a commitment to protect you, the Intaki of Syndicate. Now it has become clear that the very group we signed that agreement with is the greatest threat to this region and beyond. They have sold their own people's independence to pirates and thieves at a black market price. We shall no longer suffer the dishonor that this so-called Intaki Syndicate spreads. Dismantling an organization with its claws dug in this deep will take time and your trust. We will earn that trust by acting with honor, showing you the value that we have placed on loyalty, and demonstrating our strength. Join us and lift this region out of the darkness and deliver justice to the Intaki Syndicate. The reason why this is so important... Yes, the Ishikone were friends with... the Ishikone were the ones that received the pod from the Jovians, correct. So the big things... Yeah, the Zephyr are immune to sleeper drones, basically. Aggression from the sleeper drones. So the reason why this is all very, very critical from what we've learned from FanFest is that we now know all 4 of the military campaigns that are coming on the 9th. And what I find very interesting is that the Caldari military campaign is to connect Caldari closer to the Syndicate. So this idea of like trying to free the Syndicate or whatever seems not very likely. It is worth noting that most of these military campaigns, seasonal tasks, do not, it seems that CCP is expecting them to succeed. There doesn't seem to be a very good way to disrupt these military campaigns, at least in this first cycle. And so the expectation, I assume, would be that the Caldari are establishing deeper connections into the Syndicate space. I said CCP instead of FC, sorry. The thing that I find weirdest about this is you can go back to all of the different coverage of the of FanFest. You can go back and watch my over 10 hours of coverage of FanFest. And what you'll notice is, while they do go into quite a bit of depth, basically each of the military campaigns have 2 functional impacts, right? So the Starkmanir Prime one, they want to rename Starkmanir Prime, but they also will add prismaticite sites into Minmatar High-Sec. The Amara one gets a new station, but also gets changes to taxes. The Galente one get a new rogue drone, or a new type of drone, and a tighter connection to Intaki. The Caldari are building a Stargate to Syndicate. And you know what's crazy about that? CCP did not go into the details of the Caldari one, right? I don't think I saw anywhere the actual, like, all they said was that it was a better connection to Syndicate. There's no second feature. they've said very, very, very little about this. And I think that that's important because that's the missing piece. That's what's happening right now, is like the justifications to all this, and they didn't want to spoil some of these beats that are between now and the 9th. So, you know, the Caldari are obviously incredibly interested in taking over or exerting their influence into the Syndicate region. But there seems to still be a bit of a question as to why we're doing all of this. And it seems to be some sort of connection between Akimaka Saraki, Alexander Ducasi, potentially, or Upwell, Mordu. So we've got Evermore in there. Like, there's so many different conspiracy pieces to all of this. It does seem to be very much a weakening of Laidai and giving new opportunities to Ishikone. It's also worth noting, as we're throwing out all this stuff, that Ishikone is also tightly connected with SOE through AIR Laboratories, which are the people who just finished the construction or are in the process of constructing Exordium. So all these pieces are starting to come together all at the same time. Very difficult to keep them all separate and whatnot. But as I've said multiple times before, the chances are that the Syndicate are just in on it, or even just a few of the Syndicate members are in on it. It's not hard to find 2 Syndicate guys who are willing to take the fall and do what you need to do for enough money, right? And so if this whole process is designed to exert further Caldari influence, I would say if anyone has any chance of being like the undermining, or like the shadowy figure, the conspiracy, I still think that this could be an inside job. I think that this, every time we look at this, the chances that there are members within the state that are involved in all of this is really high. The other major culprit would be, of course, the Amar, who also have pretty strong connections to the Caldari. I do find it very fun that in this thing, right? So we're talking about the one of the things that's interesting is we have here the new stuff for the carriers, right? Core Complexion, Calichiota, Duval Laboratories, and Cartham Conglomerate unveil plans for the new carriers, right? So this note here is involving the Tech 2 carriers. And what I found that jumped out at me on this is that Calichiota is a Caldari corporation, but Cartham Conglomerate also is kind of a Caldari corporation. Obviously, it is an Amarian corporation, and it is tied to the House Sorum, of course. But we can see Tash Murkon family assumes a minority stake in Cartham Conglomerate. But we can see that the Laidai and CBD Corporation, where is it? According to the article, Laidai, which already has a minority stake in Cartham Conglomerate, is considering expanding its holdings into the Amar Corporation. If we go to Amar Corporations, though, I still think that they tried to like hack into the hyperspace tunnel, and it caused it to blow out from the far side. But we can hold on. Amar. This isn't going to be here. They're an empire. There's a thing about Amar corporations. Hold on. Let's go. Hold on. Mar Empire, Mar Heirs, Urium Kador, blah, 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 other bloodlines. Really? All right, whatever. Hold on. Let's see. Here we go. Modern Finances. Oh, even worse. Okay, so the largest investment company in the cluster, Modern Finances, is a progressive corporation willing to take chances. The company has helped many prominent Caldari companies break out of the Caldari state and establish markets elsewhere, but Modern Finance is also heavily involved in foreign investment, especially in the Kana Kingdom. Here we go. The company's other major line of business has been funding expeditions of regional cooperation into statewide operations, or conversely, state-based corporations into international ventures. Modern Finance has helped facilitate Lidai's establishment of both Cartham Conglomerate and Conid Innovations, for instance, and has also established the investment fund that expanded the CBD's Corporation Federation-based operations shortly after the signing of the Ulai Treaty. So Cartham Conglomerate, tightly connected to the state. I guess that kind of makes sense why they would set things up in Jita or whatever. But it is worth noting that Modern Finances, what's interesting about Modern Finances is if you go into the syndicate area, you know, after the Galente took the systems, the constellation that includes Intaki off of the war map, and so the Intaki Syndicate freaks out. The Intaki Syndicate makes a deal with the Caldari and gives them a constellation, and of course they begin building up a bunch of stuff in that constellation. The thing is that when you go and look, there's 3 different kinds of buildings in that constellation. 1, Caldari Navy, 2, Quaif, and 3, Modern Finances. So if we go here, like there's a Modern Finances depository in the system of TTAC LIWS, and there is one in UMTAC Q7F. So Modern Finances has been deeply invested in all of this, and so I do find it very suspicious that Cartham is the one that also gets this this contract for the new carriers. But to get back to the story, you know, the Caldari, the Galente offer potentially amnesty for the members of the syndicate, and so the syndicate begin to set things up in order to try to do a big breakout. Residents of syndicate put forth motion to preserve legacy of Isana in Poidat following Caldari sovereignty, and Caldari forces maintain engagement lines. So president offers amnesty. So we see Alex Moreau has promised amnesty to the descendants of those exiled from her planet from what the Federation leader has called the darkest period of our history. So that leads to then on the 12th, so this would have been, so the next week, 1 week later, Jita formally becomes under Concord's control. This comes first. Nope, sorry, this comes first. So then the Syndicate attempts to break out. They send their super carriers and Titans and stuff. All of their attempts to break out get leaked. Haikatorigo informs a bunch of Capsuleers. Capsuleers go and blow up the Syndicate ships in all 3 locations. In one of the locations, actually, one Dreadnought manages to get away and escape back to Syndicate region, although then participates in the final attempt to escape and also gets blown up. So in all cases, they get destroyed. However, there was suggestions by Haikatorigo that other people escaped. But we see that the trial is set for the 19th of May, and Exordium, so Air and them are using this as an opportunity to also explain why this is so important for there to be Exordium, right? And business leaders come in and help with Ducasi in this negotiation. In other words, basically at this point, Ducasi and friends are divvying up Jita, right? The most valuable system in the entire game, or in the entire cluster, and a bunch of corporate dudes are kind of getting together to decide what they want to do with it. And in the end, Jita comes under Concord administration. which is basically a direct win for Alexander Ducasi. Jita is now no longer owned by the Caldari state, although Jita 4.4 is for now run by the Caldari Navy. But the CEP has ratified the agreement from 6-2. But the only CEOs are Sugavesta and Kalakiota voting against the motion. It's important to note Men's Repala has been the biggest proponent of the deal. Highly suspicious, because again, he's like, I still think Ishikone's got their fingers deep into this. Has said that Jita has long been a source of pride for the state. Our current relationship with the system no longer benefits either party. Handling administration over to Concord will create an open door of free trade that'll benefit the Caldari more than a failing grip over a system ever could. Remember, Ishikone does not like Lidai, has never liked Lidai. Lidai, the entire situation with the Caldari state could just be summarized as Ishikone versus Lidai. Among everyone, SOCT has the best knowledge of hyperspace. Yeah, although I mean, honestly, the guys with all of the groups that have access to the Drifter Hives now likely have as much, if not more, information than the SOCT about the hyperspace telemetry. But either way, we see that the chairman Akimaka Saraki is behind this whole thing, or is supportive of this whole thing. And evermore, Alexander Ducasi says, the people of Jita, who I'm a representative in these negotiations, to the best of my ability, would be uncomfortable with handing over all control of the trade that made their system great to a government agency like Concord. Oh, there's a reason why. Look, we can't hand it over to Concord. Me and my businesses have to be involved. We know how things are. Can't you tell by all of the news and media that we've put out with our own news and media organizations about this whole situation? You can trust us about Jita. We're Evermore. And then up to and including using Valor Spec Ops, which literally has Valor in its name, as the new security force for Jita, which is pretty surprising. They also go with Vapor Seas Technologies, which is Evermore's cloud computing systems, and Iris, their artificial intelligence, to resolve corruption of Jita's financial systems, which is weird because earlier, a few months back, I didn't pull this up, but Iris and Evermore were kind of being like there was supposed to be an investigation because of their tracking of Plex transactions now, but that got squashed because Ducasi has a lot of power over Concord. I'll just put it that way. Yes, we're in Exordium right now. I know you can't see what I'm showing. I'm sorry. I'm kind of just talking at this point, but you're right. I figured you guys might want to watch, see inside of Exordium, huh? All right, sorry. So then that leads us to today, where Sylphy and Diabel escapes before her trial, much as she predicted. But what's interesting here is that the two syndicate members who were already arrested, already found guilty, so theoretically should be in whatever confinement that they're in, they were also there for some reason, because the two Intaki syndicate members who were to serve as witnesses at the trial were assassinated during the escape. So for whatever reason, they decided to transport Sylphy and Diabel with the two witnesses in the same convoy, which then gets attacked by unknown people. They kill them. It's so convenient how anybody who would be able to have any kind of witness to what conspiracy has been going on now is dead or missing, right? But we have the State Peacekeepers, which are a neutral group that were participating in this whole thing. The other thing I found really weird was the syndicate residents offered Megacorp employment as part of rejuvenation efforts. If they're arresting the syndicate guys, Megacorp, are they talking about, is this a Caldari? When we hear Megacorp, we think Caldari, but I'm not sure what they mean by this, except for the fact that I have one suspicion which is the only megacorp that I can think of that isn't Caldari, is Quaif, right? And so it could very well be, since Quaif already has so much presence in Taki Syndicate region, and they've been trying to offer them amnesty. It doesn't make any sense to me for the state megacorporations to be offering a rejuvenation effort when they're trying to arrest and kill them all. So I suspect that this could be Quaif. Hold on a second. Let's look real quick. If I can pull this up very quick, we can go Quaif Megacorp. So Quaif had a state-granted corporate status, but this is old. This is Tibus Heth stuff. I think this might be it. Is this it? A partnership between mega corporations Sugavesta and Quaif announced its first contract. I thought there was like a moment in the news where they were like, "Yep, Quaif is now a mega corporation." Maybe not. Oh, this actually seems likely. So this is when they greenlit the 4-4 thing. No, this one just mentions Quaif there. Quaif issues statement urging mutual respect for territorial integrity and interstellar law. Ah, this is... Hold on. Rare dealing concerning Mimitar Republic and Amar Empire interests. The Quaif Corporation has agreed to lease extension and raw material harvesting colony in Bosberger. This is not related. Oh yeah, Quaif Mega Corporation. Yeah, I guess they keep mentioning, they just refer to it as a mega corporation now. I thought there was a whole thing about how Quaif is now like officially recognized as a mega corporation within the Caldari state. Quaif Corporation defends involvement in PKN Interstellar Consortium as Senate investigation into Warzone activity continues. Okay. And this would have happened somewhere. Media outlets controlled by the Ishikone, Haseyoda, and Quaif corporations have been airing claims that officials of the Caldari Business Tribunal has been bribed or approached with offers of bribes to deliver summary judgments to dismiss the charges under provisions of the Caldari corporate sovereignty laws. Oh no, that's a mess. Let's not even go into that right now. Nope, that's just referring to him as a mega corporation by that point. So it would have been before then? I don't know. I remember there's a whole thing about Quaif Mega Corporation. But either way, whatever. The point is that this is not the end of the story, obviously. We're going to have to keep a very close eye on this. Sylphy and Diabel's now at large. Anybody who would have been able to testify against the whole situation is now dead. And there's unknown connections with a host of supposed suspects. But the reason why this is so important is, again, remember, on the 9th, the military campaigns begin. And one of those military campaigns, the Caldari military campaign, is explicitly about trying to take steps to fortify and fortify their presence and their control over the Syndicate region. So I assume that this is going to be a big piece of all of this as things get going. There's a super chat. Hey, thank you, JK, for that. Awesome. Sorry, I was too busy scrolling, like just looking through stuff. I didn't notice the chat. I appreciate it. DK says Viking money for Ash. Viking. No, it is like the Caldari have been stated, or sorry, the Quaif has been stated as a mega corporation multiple times. There was stuff involving Quaif and Syndicate. Quaif Company fends off increasing criticism in Gallente Federation over role in Syndicate and ties to Caldari State. And then we even have Garissus Pirates raid outlying Caldari Navy installations and convoy in Placid and Syndicate regions. Remember, if Quaif is a proxy for Lydai and Garissus are a proxy for Ishikone, then all of this stuff has been going on for quite some time. And now I have so much stuff I've pulled up, I have lost track of it. All right, and let's see. I know that this is... I've said a lot of stuff without actually coming to any conclusions, and unfortunately that's just kind of where we're going to have to be right now. But I would love to hear your guys' theory down below and in the comments where this might be going, what this might mean, who might really be behind it all, etc., etc. Did they mention where the new gate from Caldari Empire space to Syndicate? I don't think they ever mentioned where the gates were going to be. No, I think they did say it would be in BlackRose. Isn't Quaif and Serpentis all connected? I'm actually not sure if there's a tight connection between Quaif and Serpentis. The major connections between Quaif has been with the other empires. Quaif was helped with negotiations between the Gallente and the Amar in the past, and as you know, Quaif has been cozying up to Caldari more and more and more over the years. Up to a big piece of it is Quaif's association with Jita 44. And remember that Quaif is associated with Lydai, and Starsea is connected to Ishikone. So all of this is just the soft drink wars. But, yeah. Hence why I got to get Sylphy scanned in a neutral med bay to get all trackers out of her and hostile junk out of our system. I wonder whether or not she has... I mean, she could theoretically just be cloned. But, yeah, this is clearly the setup for the military campaign for the Caldari, which means between now and the 9th, we need at least some follow-up with this, but we also need, the Alex starting a project to better connect the Gallente to Intaki system is obvious and won't require very much to cover. There is some... already there is some teasing about the renaming of Starkmere Prime, so that's already primed as it is, haha. But the Amar one, the Amar one is also kind of set up in the fact that they don't have they're concerned about the economic ascension of the Mimitar, and so that will likely lead to the project to revitalize the Amar trade hub and lower taxes within the Amar Empire as a way of trying to dealing with the new resurgent or ascendant Mimitar Republic. So that is the setups for the expansion, which comes on the 9th. I do want to point out that I have mentioned multiple times that the track will extend on Thursday. That's actually incorrect. It should extend next Tuesday, so a week from today if you're watching this live. And then the Warzone conflict will happen for one more week. So assume that we will get more news next Tuesday. Not sure if we're going to get any news before then. Thursday we might get something, but I don't have anything Like, I don't have any solid reason to expect to, other than the fact that it's just a day to come out with news. But there's definitely going to be more to watch about this, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and all that stuff so you can get the latest and greatest on the show. But for all of you who are watching live, stay tuned. For everybody who's watching after the fact, that's it for today's New Eden News and its commentary. Why? Arg. All right. Well, I have been Ashtarothi. I've been playing this game since 2010, talking about it since 2012, and I'm here to put even to context for you, my fellow Empyreans. Thank you for this little journey down the rabbit hole of madness that is the lore. We will be watching very, very closely over the next several weeks to see how this all plays out. But it is very interesting, and there are a lot of moving parts going on at the moment. I do recommend going back and watching some of my previous videos over the last several weeks, where we cover some of the tinfoil and dig in deeper with some of these details. But until then, I've been Ashtarothi. And I want to give a special shout out to all of you who like, comment, subscribe, become members, patrons, supporters, and give a special shout out to my top tier supporters: 745 NPSI, Arydanika the Queen, Bad Boy Smooth, Eboleet, Erladis, Elange, Flash Gordon, Grims, May, Malak, Starfire, Malin, Mercuton, Mayak, Morcar, Michael, Neelam, LM1, Sheesh, Susuro, Thrans, and Rid. Thank you all so much. Like I said, if you're watching live, stay tuned. Otherwise, I've been Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and I'll see you in space. Woo. All right, now then, Exordium. Exordium. Wait, Forever Creative Skin? What are you talking about? The pod? It works. The contested light eye refinery that messed up Caldari Cosmos sites is the only drop mission item. Okay. I mean, I refuse to read too much into Cosmos stuff. That stuff is broken and old. What about... Oh, Podskin price. They are going for 2+ billion ISK each. I will say that if you are in the Convocation of Empyreans and have been in the Convocation of the Empyreans for a while, and you did not get one of those pods, and you want to because they're amazing, they're so amazing. Hold on, let's show it off again. I have it on good authority that if you hit up Thrans, he might be able to make you a good deal. Yep. Well, I told you guys that they were going to go way up as soon as the FanFest was over. Because look at that particle effect. It's so good. So we can see, ooh, while moving, it has this aurora. There's lots of fireworks going on and everything. And then if I warp, yes, I said 2 billion. It gets that like fiery effect while warping, and red arrows. It is by far the best pod skin, and it's expensive now. Warned you. No, it's over. It's over, man. Even if CCP streams again, the chance to get it's done. All right. Yeah, I do notice that it does do the particle effect while you're docking, or while you're in moving around in station too. Ash will give away his pod in a giveaway. That's how nice of a guy he is. That's correct, actually. At some point here, I will be doing a giveaway for one of these pod skins, but not today because we want to wait to make it even more special. Probably, I bet you we'll do it for the expansion release stream. But you can see, like, it does show the warp effect while you're even there. Although, and remember, you can actually do the undock. And if you undock and then wait for the engines to kick on, and then immediately shut it off, then it does a cool effect. See, he's gonna Now he's going to go all the way around, loop around. Getting us some nice sweeping shots of Exordium. It's useless to me anyways because I don't get potted. It's not about getting potted. It's about when your ship blows up. It's when if you don't get potted, then you get to sit in your pod the whole way home. All right. Let's talk about Exordium. Exordium is now live. It is open and it is... Oh, wait. Actually, before we talk about Exordium a little bit, I do want to cover a couple other things. One, there is a sale going on. This is just like or a little bit like the other one, but more skins are available. So we have a 1 month and a 3 month. So you can get the Ishkur Presidential Agent and the Ishkur Presidential Agent and the Wolf Strategist skins. These are in the New Eden store. So the previous two were buying Plex pack or Omega packs with cash, buying Plex packs with cash, and now this is a in-game purchase in the New Eden store. Oh, don't forget your 1,500 skill points. It is Tuesday. And we can see here the 3-month Omega has a 20% off, so it's now 960 Plex, and comes with the 2 skins, the Stark Strategist and the Ishkur Presidential skin. If you're interested. The tutorial is not open, correct. How do the newbies buy stuff there? Is the market seeded by players? Not yet. I mean, that's why they're coming out with this early. They're giving us time to get it all sorted and situated, right? So one thing to note, one of the things that I was very paying attention to, if we undock here, I'm going to take my mining ship. Maybe September the new tutorial will go live. From my understanding is it's supposed to be on expansion day. The new epic arc, and everyone will start out in Exordium starting on expansion day. There is like a 20% additional tax on everything in Exordium as a way of kind of cutting off people or making it less interested. Did I see your cockroach in Eve Workbench? No, but that's very funny. So one thing that is kind of weird is that the mining belts in Exordium, as of right now, aren't counted as belts. They're counted as beacons, even though they have a belt look on them. So they show up in my beacon overview instead of my mining overview, which is weird. But there's a lot of little weird things in Exordium that will likely get fixed at some point. There's both belts and sights. Well, in this system, my point is that this is a belt, but it's registered not as a belt. It's registered as a beacon. And if we do a ore scan of this belt, we will see that the rocks here have basically somewhere between 5 to 7,000 M3. So not only are these some of the worst rocks in the game, but if I, like, let's say I pull up my Mackinac. That's not how to spell Mackinac, is it? Ooh. If I pull up my Mackinac and simulate it, and I put in the correct crystals, so let's just put in common A2s, I can see that I get 14.8 M3. right? So if we go open up the calculator, we go 5,000 divided by 14.8 divided by 60. So in about 5.5 minutes, an exhumer will chew through any given rock. And that's with a Mackinac, right? Hulk would be even worse. And so this is the thing I've been kind of talking about with Exordium. Not only is it like people were talking about, oh, people are going to use their stuff to be the word, you know, to mine here while it's perfectly safe. I mean, maybe, but the problem is that these rocks are so small that most hardcore miners are just not going to want to deal with it, I think. Now, I actually think that the rocks could be a little bit smaller, but this is definitely designed to be a place where, like, it makes sense to mine it with a Venture or, you know, other T1 frigate or something, or like a mining frigate or even a Pioneer. But it doesn't make as much sense to mine, like, to bring your exhumers in here and start mining is kind of silly. You can't. I was there today. It was locked by a gate. Where are the gated ones? Because this one is not gated. Not without it. I'm saying people can. People can. But that's the thing, is that, like, CCP gets a lot more done by convincing people that it's not worth it. What it's going to do is mess with the freelance market for people buying all one type of ore for one price. Yeah, because you have to set one price. So now grade 0 sets the price, which is bad. Right upper corner one. What? I will note that there is a thing here that locks my safety. Go one of the faction systems so you can see Corvette and Venture only gated sites. All right. Let's see. So I guess we would go here. I mean, okay. I'm just saying, like, this is more about making people not want to bother than explicitly forcing them. Now, my assumption is these ones that are gated are going to be part of more like the NPE, because, like, open belts are fine, but the managed belts should be the same as in the career agent systems. Right. Yeah. Because there are anomalies here. They're not even a beacon. They're just an anomaly. So these sites are likely going to be part of the career agents. I assume that this station will have, like, the career agents in them eventually. And so this system will be a career agent system. And it includes these things, which require you to be in a Corvette or a Venture, which makes sense because you're supposed to be doing it while in the career agent. In every Empire system, by the way. Yeah, that makes sense. Because, well, yeah, I don't know. We're going to have to see all the details. Obviously not, you know, not all of it is finished. The gated ones have okay ore. We can grab a Corvette. We are live on YouTube, by the way. I do want to go check out the shipcaster that's under construction. I imagine that there might be a task between now and then to... Wait. Oh, yeah, one more. There'll be a task between now and then to help build the shipcasters, potentially, or maybe they'll just build them up automatically, but hard to say. Are they revamping the crew agents? I wouldn't say they're revamping them, but they are putting, from my understanding, they are putting a set of crew agents in Exordium. They're not removing the ones that already exist, which ironically enough might mean that you can do an extra set of career agents for Empire, which would help with faction standings, but also they're making faction standings way easier to get broadly now, so that might not be as important of a thing. I see the map. Oh yeah, we'll get into that when we get into the patch notes. Anyone trying to recruit my character into Feeder Corp 27 yet? Again, people aren't starting in this area yet. This is actually, mostly this is just people. There aren't very many new people here right now. The only people that are here are experienced players that are checking it out just to check it out more than anything. In my opinion, they really need to do something to make the MR shipcaster closer to the trade hub. It's so far away, it's almost useless. Well, it's not. The shipcaster's not designed to get you to the trade hub. It's designed to get you to the war zone. So here is the Galente shipcaster site. There's the shipcaster. Oh yeah, it's almost built. It's basically finished. Are they going to build a transmuter? Wait, is this a blue star? It is a blue star. Oh, that's fun. It's a B0 blue star too, so are they going to build a stellar transmuter on this thing? How about giving exclusive nebula like Trace Cosmos to Exordium? I do find it interesting that it shows all 4 Empire's nebulas here. Nope, there's nothing on the star yet. But arguably, the shipcaster will require one. Well, now I gotta check. I'm just going to assume, but we're going to double check, that all 4 of these systems are blue. Is there a way to tell the star color from here? Geography star color. Thank you. You're right. Not blue? Wait. Not blue. Wait. Not blue. This one's blue, right? Man, these star color things are terrible. This one could be... Is that gold? Could that one be blue? Now I've got to go check these out, huh? I bet that one's G5 gold. We'll find out. Let's go look at them all while we talk. Wonder once the expansion drops if FC would make all new promotion trailers and replace the Eve story trailers on Play on YouTube ads. Probably not replace them, but maybe. Go to 3D map and zoom in. Yeah, I mean, that... Oh, here we go. Oh, no, that's wrong. Or that won't work. This is not a blue star. That is not a blue star. It is not a gold star. Okay, so that's weird. Why does star color matter? Because... Okay. Every stellar transmuter that has ever been put down has been on a blue star or a G5 gold star. It is the stars that the Triglavians were exclusively hunting after, and especially the blue stars are tightly connected to the element Isogen 5, which is basically the MacGuffin of the whole game. And so the assumption is that the stellar transmuters are powered by Isogen 5. If we go into the map and we see all of the other headquarters, so if we go to like Mehator, we go to Mehator, we'll see that Mehator itself is not a blue star, but Ohide is. And Ohide has a stellar transmuter. Likewise, Intaki not a blue star, but it goes is. Every single stellar transmuter has, or sorry, every single shipcaster has a stellar transmuter associated with it. Well, no, I'm not saying these are Triggs taking them. I'm saying that this is the technology. Like stellar transmuters, sorry, shipcasters require stellar transmuters to power them. Interesting. Any chance that dev can input a wrong line of code and accidentally have new bros spawn in Pochvin on day one? Sure, why not? Anything's possible at this point. All right, let's look at the patch notes. Those stars need to be errated. I mean, we don't know yet. We don't know yet because, like I said, you can bring power from somewhere else. All of the other shipcasters have a transmuter a couple jumps away, you know, 1 or 2 jumps away from where the shipcaster actually is. So the shipcaster and the stellar transmuter doesn't have to be in the same system. I just noticed that in the Gallente one, it is that way. Not sure about the rest of them. Well, yeah, all of the shattered wormholes are blue stars. Yes, Zarzak does have a transmuter and a caster in the same system. I meant of the Empire shipcasters. Thank you. All right, patch notes. Let's look at what they have to say about Exordium while we go. Introducing Exordium. With today's deployment, the previously introduced 53 systems of the new and their associated region of Exordium are now accessible through Manifest Gate in ULI. Make it so I can read your guys' talk while I'm putting this out. As discussed back in April, Exordium is a dedicated new player region designed to provide a safer introduction to EVE Online while still introducing players to the game's core systems, progression paths, and faction identities before they move into the wider cluster. We're opening up Exordium and its features and stages ahead of the Cradle of War expansion. This deployment introduces the first iteration of the new starter systems, the Space Security Class 1.0, along with several pieces of new content aimed at new players. At this time, Exordium is still a work-in-progress state, and the new Air Trade Center station in Manifest can be seen in its partially constructed form. New players will not be sent to Exordium until the Cradle of War expansion releases on June 9th. So yeah, on June 9th, the new MPE will be introduced. Systems within Exordium now use a dedicated 1.0 security class designed to prevent all forms of PvP. As part of this update, all Exordium systems have been set to 1.0. All existing 1.0 systems have been adjusted to 0.9, which should not meaningfully impact Concord response times in those systems. It really doesn't impact much of anything. I think there's one thing about like how criminal you can be, basically. There's one very minor thing based on standings that is the only thing that really is affected. Security tooltips on the star mat now support the new security tier classification. Within Exordium, safety settings are permanently locked to green. We saw that around my safety. War declarations and faction warfare combat are disabled. Asterisk. Duels cannot be initiated. Asterisk. Kill rights cannot be activated. Characters within combat flags such as suspect, criminal, and limited engagements cannot go into Exordium or undock within the region until their timer expires. Players cannot freely attack other capsuleers. Upwell structures cannot be deployed, and deployables and anchored containers cannot be placed. Asterisk. Starter space economic balancing. Exordium is intended to be as a starting environment for new capsuleers. Economic activity within the region has been adjusted to reduce payouts compared to standard high-sec space. Mission ISK rewards, LP rewards, and NPC bounties are reduced by 20%. Additional 5% market fees added to non-instant orders. Industry installation fees increased by 5% for manufacturing, materials efficiency research, time efficiency research, and invention. So you can use the region, but you are accepting a 5 to 20% penalty depending on which piece of it that you're talking about. Additional balancing changes are now active within Exordium include ores found within Exordium are grade 0, which have a lower mineral yield than standard variants. Exploration sites within Exordium contains distinct loot tables with lower value loot and optimized for newer players. And Homefront operations within Exordium have reduced difficulty as well as reduced rewards. 20%, it needs to be 80%? I mean, I don't know. There's only level 1 missions. So it's not like anybody's going to be like blasting through level like you're not grinding level 4 missions at 20% reduction. You're doing like the worst missions in the game and also getting a 20% hit on it. Additional balancing changes now active. Yeah, we did that. Agents and mission content. Exordium now includes a broad range of Empire-aligned agents designed to introduce new players to mission running, mining, security gameplay, and faction identity. We can close this up real quick to see agents and missions, mission agents. Where's the agent find? Wait. There it is, agent finder. So if we go with any type within 5 jumps, any faction. So all of these are outside of Exordium. So we can go, we go to only level 1 missions. Wait, why is this not showing up anything? Oh, because I'm looking at only locator agents. Here we go. So all these agents with 1.0 are the manifest ones, right? So we have Deep Core Mining, we have Sisters of Eve, we have Caldari Navy, we have, oh, that's not right, because that's 0.8. We have Federation Navy, we have HZO Refinery, we have Republic Fleet, etc. But if you notice, they're all level 1. Well, let's see if there's any level 2. Oh, wait, hold on. There are level 2s. I'm wrong, because that's a level 2 agent. Are there any level 3s? There are no level 3 agents. And I almost certainly going to be no level 4. So you can do level 1 and level 2 agents in Exordium, and that's it. And you're going to be doing Caldari Navy, Deep Core Mining, Federation Navy, Mimitar. What is Mimitar Mining Corporation? Wait, what is Mimitar Mining Corporation? Is that a real thing? That's a real thing? Oh yeah, I guess so. Fair enough. It sounded like a stand-in name. Wasn't level 1 and 2 just a placeholder for now? I don't think so. Well, actually, even, hold on, to go back to the notes, it says right here, the following agents are now available for interaction. Level 1 and level 2 security agents, level 1 and level 2 mining agents, Sisters of Eve agents, and Paragon agents. So then we also have, in addition to that, they have done improved AI in the home fronts, vigilance points, and abyssal artifact recovery sites. So that's everywhere. That's not just in Exordium. So all of the kind of the newer sites in the last couple of years have had their AI updated. And then new content has been added: mining, combat anomalies, data and relic sites, cooperative objective-based encounters, which I'm really interested as to what that means, because I don't know what a cooperative objective-based encounter is that isn't one of these home fronts. But there's also Empire mining belts, pirate hideaways, so like the lowest tier combat. Also, why pirate hideaways and combat anomalies? What does that mean? Road drone combat sites and relic and hacking data sites. We also have several exploration sites have received updated visuals. When we go into the Hobo Leaks, we can see that all of the info shards have had their name changed to Info Siphon. And I assume that they're using the new visuals from the hacking sites from the event, which I have noticed that the new hacking cans in the event look awesome and have like cool effects when you hack them. The third Homefront one, when is that ever relevant if that spawns you dead anyways? What? Which one? metaliminal meteorite or emergency aid? And also, Tier 0 abyssal filaments can now be used in 0.9 and 1.0 systems. So you can now do your Tier 0 abyss running in JITA again, for better or worse. Oh, which one? The abyssal artifact one is not in... is not in Exordium, but is, like, elsewhere, for sure. There are people that run the Abyssal Artifact site, by the way. But additional UI support has been added for Exordium security classes. Security tooltips now link directly to additional safety information. The Start app now includes security tier filter option. A new security filter side panel has been added to the map UI. Security tier information can now be viewed directly on the map. So if we go here, we can see that Exordium tells us, if right next to the system, there's this little Concord logo, and it says, safe from others, responsible for yourself. Elevated security protocols apply in this system, in addition to normal 1.0 security status restrictions. Concord prohibits disabling of ship safety, prohibiting all violence between capsuleers. Be aware that the protocols do not apply to illegal hostile operators, and reckless engagement may still result in destruction of your ship. Show security rules on map. And if we click on that, it opens up the map. And you can see that there's these security tiers. So this is the first, like, side panel that I think we've seen. No, there was stuff with mining too, right? Yeah. If you look at ore distribution, that's there too. But if we go to... what is... where's the security filter? Sovereignty? No. Where's the security one? Geography? Yeah, security status. So yeah, security status now has this thing on the side, so you can be like, I only want Exordium system, or like it tells you about Exordium system. High sec, it says, areas of space with active Concord enforcement, illegal aggression will trigger a rapid Concord response that destroys the offender, but attacks can still occur before that response arrives. Legal form of aggression are allowed. Capsuleer flagged as suspects can be legally attacked. Corporations may declare war on one another, and strikes may come from those who accept Concord's deadly retribution. Oh. Low sec, limited law enforcement, real risk, areas of space with reduced law enforcement. Concord forces do not respond to aggression, although sentry guns and guard gates and stations. Capsuleers can attack one another more freely. Piracy, faction warfare, and small-scale conflicts are common. It's odd that it doesn't say that there is a security penalty to attacking in low-sec space. That should probably be there. And then null-sec, claim it, defend it. There is no Concord. There is no space, Concord presence, and no automatic law enforcement. Capsuleer alliances may claim sovereignty over much of this space, building their own infrastructure. It is up to capsuleers to protect their own space. Unrestricted combat and large-scale wars are part of daily life. Wormhole space says, hidden threats, hidden treasures, uncharted systems with no security status and no local communication channel. These systems, well, it's a delayed local communication channel. These systems contain bountiful resources, but are also home to unknown threats. There is no Concord or faction protection, and no capsuleers can claim sovereignty over them. Accessible only through unstable wormholes. These systems exist outside of the normal bounds of New Eden. Their ever-shifting connections mean their wormhole space is not visible on the map. Any word on if there's deep flow rifts in Exordium? Can we fish? I don't believe so. There isn't a security penalty for attacking low-sec anymore unless you kill pods. What? Is that... wait. That's impossible, Jeff. That's impossible. That cannot be true. No, that cannot be true. Because the reason why I know that's not true is because if that was true, then gate guns would never fire. Because the thing that makes the gate guns fire is you losing security status in their visibility. That's why if you warp off and warp back again, you can aggress again. and it won't fire at you again. No, I do not believe that you're correct, Jeff. You will get a security penalty if you attack somebody that you're not allowed to attack in low sec. Otherwise, the gate guns wouldn't do anything. And then finally, Pochvin. Prove fitness through adaptation. A region annexed by the Triglavian Collective with no Concord presence and restricted access. Local communications are altered. Standings influence survival, and environmental effects shape combat. It is a volatile space where ambush warfare is common and high risks are balanced with incredible opportunities. Concord standings is different than security status. We're talking about security status. You absolutely get security penalties for firing at people in low sec. A bigger one for potting, for sure. But either way, so cool. Imagine a military campaign, Goons versus Thucker, where Great Wildlands become Sovnal for NPC. Okay. And then now the Capsule Forever Creative Skin now supports the Genelution or 197 variant capsule, which is mine. So yeah, that is it for the patch notes for today. We looked at the mining sites. We're going to go look at the Caldari place real quick, and then we will go grab the Odysseus and see about scanning down some sites around here to see what it looks like. We see there's Garistus hideaways and managed asteroid belts. I want to go to Angel Space, or I want to go to Mimitar Space after this, because I want to check. Because, so, according to this, so the Garistus hideaway doesn't escalate. None of the hideaways escalate except for the Angel. Oh, no, because the normal hideaway. Wait, whoa, I was wrong. Garistus hideaway does escalate. So I wonder if you can get escalations here. I don't see a reason why you wouldn't be able to get an escalation. It probably would lead you out of Exordium. But it is a decent way to farm escalate. Well, I mean, is it a decent way to farm escalations? I think that still going around in normal space and doing it is going to probably be easier for finding them to get escalations. House of Records Information Center. Okay. Oh, somebody's trying to talk to me. All right, here's the State Shipcaster. This one's clearly more under construction than the Glente one seemed to be. Hold on. Yeah. For some reason, the Caldari one seems to be more under construction than the Glente one is. Maybe I was just too quick at looking at it. So if we look at the 2D map, geography, star color. That's not it. Any of these even possible? That's interesting. Maybe this one? A G5 stellar transmitter would be unique. I don't know, man. Maybe they've stopped caring about the need for stellar transmuters for shipcasters. Maybe they can just bring it in from somewhere else. Unsure. Right. If Exordium Anoms escalate, it'll be camp nonstop. Yeah, I mean, I just like I don't see any advantage of farming hideaways in Exordium versus just normal high sec. Think small. Let's go grab my ship and try some of these sites. Hideaways can spawn the occasional. Again, like you can, but like you're already going to be doing these sites in something pretty cheap. So like the idea that I can't get ganked isn't going to matter. Like I'm still going to use. I'm not going to use a different ship necessarily just because I'm in Exordium. I don't get it like an extra advantage in doing so. I just don't see a value, even though they can escalate. I think that it would still just be better to run them in normal high sec. All the anoms are gated and ship locked is my understanding. No. There are state managed asteroid belts which are gated. And if I remember correctly, these are the same exact managed asteroid belts that are also in Newbie systems right now. CSM has confirmed that 1 of 10 escalations are happening there and is currently far higher rate than intended. Oh, okay, well then get to it. You won't be able to steal loot. You can't steal. You would not be able to steal loot in these systems because you can't go yellow, so you can't steal. You can't go suspect, so you wouldn't be able to steal from somebody if they're doing something here, which is kind of neat. 1 of 10s are good, but the the hideaways. Well, they escalate to a 4 of 10. Like the Garissa's hideaway escalates to a 4 of 10. The Sancha hideaway escalate, which isn't here. So you'd only have the Garissas and the Serpentis hideaway, probably. Because those are the two that escalate. The Garissas escalates to a 4 of 10. The Serpentis escalates to a 3 of 10. Yeah, it's good for... But there's... Yeah. Okay, I wonder if the gas sites will spawn there too. No, they did not mention gas sites. Frigate salvage is bad? Correct. You can salvage no matter what, for sure. You'd be able to salvage out from underneath somebody, but you wouldn't be able to steal from them. Which also means people can't come in and disrupt your mission running either. And of course, Exordium, or the Air Laboratories Station, has this giant cloud around it. I still think that I have a conspiracy theory that CCP is putting these clouds on everything in order to get around multi-boxers, but we'll see. Or like, who knows, I guess. We're going to go back into Garissa space. See if we can get an escalation. Everything's farmable at the right scale. Yes, but the question is, will people, like, is it worth doing it this way versus a different way? That's just how Crime Watch changes work. You still get a security penalty. It's just that you only get a suspect timer from low set combat. Yes, correct. You do not get a criminal timer, for sure. The criminal timer comes from potting. I realize that clouds won't stop multi-boxers because boxers can simply turn off graphics. Maybe. I know that I've seen a lot of people complaining about it, though. So there has been some oddities with Exordium. For instance, there have been 3 kills. A Condor, a Nestor, and a Shuttle. The Nestor is the one that strikes me the most odd because you can see that it was killed by a single hook bill, which is pretty wild. My understanding is basically there is a little bit of faction warfare shenanigans. You can see Gallente Federation versus Caldari State here. Oh wow, okay, there's a lot more. Oh look, there's a Jesus. Oh, this person is sad. Wait, he killed it with a wait. A noir guy killed it with a faction Corvette using officer guns to kill an echelon filled with stuff, including a bunch of rampancy data. This feels like a setup, right? Look at 323 Antikythera elements. This is somebody trying to send a message because they figured out a loophole. Yeah, the Nestor's kind of wild. So from my understanding, the flaws are, so there are some faction warfare war deck stuff that's a problem, and there's a way that people have found to get around dueling restrictions. Those are the 2 biggest causes of these things, and then also people are able to put down planetary customs offices right now, which is pretty funny. But from my understanding, if we go into the planetary customs office or planet, we can see that it doesn't actually matter because there's no resources on the planets. There's 0 resources on the planets. So people can currently anchor POCOs even though they're not supposed to, but it doesn't do anything because there's no planetary resources to extract. There are faction corvettes. A few years back, CCP granted everybody 1 random faction corvette from the 5 factions. Not yet. No. This is what I've gotten from CCP. CCP has indicated that the POCO thing doesn't really matter because the planets don't have resources. I imagine we're going to go in there and there's going to be somebody already running the site. You could theoretically use it as a factory planet, arguably, yeah. But who knows how long those customs offices will be allowed to stand. My bet is probably not long. Not quite everybody. Everybody who had an active sub at the time, I missed it out and I'm bitter about it. I'm sorry, man. Yeah. Whoa, this place looks different. Some visual improvements here. More clouds. Was that really it? Was it one? Okay, there we go. I guess since PI is Omega, then only not available. Then it's not going to be available in Exordium. Yeah, pretty much. No loot so far. Too bad they could have just had all shattered planets. Yeah, but they want different looking planet. They want to show players a bunch of different stuff. So they do. I mean, like, they have different planets. Also, if they were all shattered, then people like me would be like, why are they all shattered? Is that it for the site? Oh, hey, look, there's a wreck. Oh, I should have had more tractor beams. I should have left some tractor beams on. Exordium is supposed to be a resource insignificant region, not something devastated at the edge of core of the elements. Yeah. I think that's it for this site. Didn't get an escalation, obviously. Normal loot. Do we know if wormholes will appear in Exordium? I do not believe so. It wouldn't really make sense either. Why is this making noise? I muted you. By the way, my son is also hanging out today. He's over today. So if you guys want, he can come in and say hi. He's been doing a really good job staying in the other room, and I appreciate that. Can you lock the structure? Which structure? What do you mean by the structure? Grusin. Oh, wait. Yeah, hideaway. They're just normal hideaways. You mean the structure? Was there a structure in the hideaway? So this is like I made this joke earlier in the Discord, but like people are talking about, oh, there's all these weird bugs where people can find these edge cases to kill each other and stuff. And, you know, you can drop Pocos even though you're not supposed to be able to anchor anything. And, like, my only response to that is, this isn't even a QA issue, because, like, at a certain point, it's actually inefficient for CCP to do the QA. Like, they could put a bunch of time and extra effort into, you know, doing their QA about this whole thing. But then, like, they can spend a bunch of money doing QA, but they still could, like, there's edge cases are hard to find. So you're going to put an increasing amount of money and time and effort and cycles into QA only for us to still find problems. So yes, there should be a certain amount of QA that needs to be done, especially things like crashing, right? That's the most important thing to QA for. But ultimately, these little edge case things, there's a reason why they're putting this out so early, right? There's a reason why they're putting this out a few weeks ahead of the expansion. Is because, yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, we are currently beta testing this region before it gets used for its final purpose. Counter argument, CCP should have tested on Sissy first with a Blex bounty for finding major bugs. But, like, my point is that what would that have done that's different or better than what they did, right? There's no long-lasting impact to what they have done. And therefore, this is the easiest, most efficient method of getting this knocked out. On the earlier point, highway farming would be less for escalations, but it might still spawn the occasional faction rat. Yeah. And you're guaranteed the loot. That's correct. Counter argument, bring back Sissy. Fair enough. No. I mean, yes. If your argument is just an excuse to argue that we should have Sissy back, sure, I can get behind that argument. Hashtag it works on my computer. No loot here. Oh, I love my Odysseus. I always love my Odysseus. How are you loving your Odysseus? The logs show nothing, exactly. Is that it for the site? I think that's it for the site. On the site. Yep, there it goes. I wish I had more reason to undock it. You make your reason. I don't have good reasons to undock the Odysseus either, but I'm still going to. I'm gonna make this square peg fit into every round hole I can possibly smash it into. Managed to make it through a rogue drone DED 5 of 10. Hell yeah. You're being facetious. As much as you loved it, it was definitely unfair to have. Yeah. Well, the biggest example of it was actually like Fonsui back in the day when he would do testing for Abyss. Like, it's so much easier for abyssal testing because basically you can jump into the Abyss, and if you end up not getting the room that you want, you can just use the move me to jump out of the Abyss and do it again. So he was able to quickly iterate through rooms to hunt for the very rooms that he wanted to test his fits against. And I actually think that that was a good thing. But, you know, it is one of the bigger impacts of not having Sissy. I wonder why the rats don't shoot at me right away. They're scared of me? Patrol leader to HQ, our position has been compromised. Send immediate reinforcements. You will regress that. Oh, they're starting to shoot now. I do missions on my Panther. Cloaking around missions is shockingly fun. Yes. Yes, having the room for all of your loot and everything is so cool. One more wave. I think this is the last wave. Isn't the whole purpose of the Abyss to not be able to test under safe conditions? I wouldn't call it the whole purpose, but the point is that, like, when you're looking for a room that has like a 1% chance to spawn, in other words, like not only just a specific type of room, but a specific combination of rats that can spawn within that room. You know, if you're looking for a 1% chance of it spawning, you're going to have to, like, it takes a long time. It would take a long time to legitimately test a fit in the same way. You could argue whether or not it's good or not. I'm just saying, like, that is, in my opinion, one of the bigger impacts. I think that's it for this site. You wanted me to see if I could attack the structure. It looks like I can't attack any. There are no lockable anything within the site. Pay Plex to be able to loot an Exordium. Oh boy. I do think it's good for the Abyss to be dangerous for you, so you have to learn in the Abyss. Sure. I started playing after Sissy was shut down. First time jumping a dread into a Sino. I do think that the best argument for Sissy is the fact that, like, capitals are a hell of a lot of risk. Like, there's a lot involved with capitals. And so the idea that people have to practice and learn how to use a capital in dangerous environment is arguably unfair. Like, it would be nice for there to be a place where you can at least practice a carrier before having to actually deploy 2 billion. Don't I mean Skybreaker? For who? I do wonder if perhaps internal corruption will be uncovered in the actual cause of the Stargate malfunction. Maybe. It's going to be interesting because, like, in the end, they are still going to go after the Syndicate. So they're at least going to stick with this for a little while. You used to be able to lock the structure in the hideaway and shoot it with Thunder Child gun. Oh, yeah. I did that with the Stormbringer. Although I do that in dens. Dens usually have things for you to be able to lock up and shoot in with the Stormbringer. Oh, loot. to break? What? I don't know. I don't know what you mean. Oh, I am losing Garissa's standings. I mean, that makes sense. Garbage loot. We're going to look to see if we can get anything interesting. These respawns are pretty good, though. Skybreaker is slightly faster. I mean, I like the Stormbringer myself. I think... Will the Skybreaker do it faster? Not sure. Odysseus is more expensive, my most expensive ship. You do not fly an Odysseus because it's efficient. Like, it is the definition of luxury. I think that's it for that. Keep looking. If the Hypernet relay uses hyperspace for its communication, it could be possible. Hold on. PKN Interstellar declares launch of Hypernet Relay successful beyond all projections. Jita the Forge. PKN Interstellar Consortium has issued a glowing report for the first 48 hours of the market activity of the newly launched Hypernet Relay Trading and Communications Network, hailing the launch as successful beyond all projections. While detailed financials are not available, the consortium led by CBD, LIDI, and NOH megacorporations has confirmed that the transactions of the new network are well into the multiple trillions of ISK after only 48 hours of operations. PKN Interstellar has also noted that the high activity has allowed it to accelerate the associated FTL communications operation, as the influx of quantum entangled 4 helium hypercores allows it to synchronize and encrypt vast numbers of quantum entangled 4 helium pairs for distribution across the new communications network it is constructing. See, they did create a new FTL communications network at the same time, and that's the thing that I keep thinking might be, the source of this disaster, or at least the source of the espionage. So here we can see that this is clearly one of the newbie systems, because we have the anomaly. So this is a system that you will. No, this is an epic art. No, this is a career agent system. You can tell because it has the anomaly training sites, which is the thing that I thought we were talking about before, but obviously those are different. State managed asteroid belt is different than anomaly training site. There's also a bunch of signatures. I'm assuming if I scan those, I'm going to get the NPE stuff. Let's find out. Oz is against Hypernet, so ultimately CSM Oz could be against Hypernet. In this disaster, the wrongs faced by Sylphy, human rights abuser. Oh my god. Yes, let's blame Oz for gas training site, relic training site, state, okay, data training site. Yep, exactly what I was expecting to see. State managed asteroid belts. I thought those had to be scanned for. Not in here. Wait, what is this thing? Why is this thing so much harder to scan down than all of the rest of the stuff in here? Hypernet on the MPE? Yeah, okay. What is this thing? Oh no, I did hear about the fact that there are weirdly data sites, or there's sites in the systems that are like super hard to scan right now. It is. That's so hard though. It is a data site. It's a level 5 data site. Wait, can I not even scan it with this ship? That's crazy. I am not going to get this one. Maybe? Hold on. Do I have to do my cube? I mean, I should be able to, but I might. Wait, hold on. I have command bursts. Oh, it's a local Garistus virus test site. So it's just a normal hacking site. Hold on. Let us. Do I have Expedition Reach, scan range finding array? That's different. I can't deploy this, right? Nope, can't deploy that. Expedition strength. Scan strength. Perfect. We're gonna put that in. What probes am I using? I'm using a sister core probe launcher and sister core probes. So I theoretically could get higher strength. My strength is 104 right now. Can I light filaments? Probably not. We're going to burst that, which puts my scan strength now to 118, and we'll scan. What the hell? Wait, really? 92.1%? Oh yeah, that's true. I would need a yellow filament to... Okay, well, I'm going to take this personally, and we're going to go dock up. I'm going to turn off this burster. We're going to go dock up, and I'm going to put on my range finding array, because this should do more scan strength. Won't be able to beat me. I mean, this is clearly a mistake, probably, but I'm still going to scan it down. I refuse to not scan it down. Technically speaking, you don't want the probes directly on the target. I should make a cube around it, but I also am just going to put on my I'm going to put on my range finding array to get it. I know how to scan. You can now do tier 0 Abyss in Exordium. You can do tier 0 Abyss. That's the only filament that you should be able to run. Let's see. Sure, why not? We'll just do the cap battery, and we'll load on this. Perfect. Yeah, now I'm just angry. This is personal for me. All right, back to the grind. Slightly up and over. Let's try that. My scan strength is now 128 points. Don't you dare mess with me. Boom, got it. See? Told you. No problem. Let's grab the other one too. Yeah, this is going to be another data site too, right? Probably. Oh, yeah, this one has the new doodads, because these are info siphons instead of info shards. But they don't... Wait, these don't look different. These don't look different. All right. Wait, is this going to be even harder to scan? Hold on. Wait, that's a weird result. That's a weird result, but okay. We'll just do this. And we will start hacking the siphon. Siphons are the lowest tier of difficulty. Should be. Yep, it is another data site. And again, I can't scan it? Wait, this time I... Huh? Oh, never mind, I got it. Yep, they're both Gurisis virus test sites. All right. 1 carbon. Awesome. Well done. Thank you. Now we're going to loot this. Once, even worse, yeah. Now we know how to troll Astaroth. Scanning is like the thing I take most pride in. So yeah. You know, I now need to go check the other 2 cans, right? Because if they're both Coles too, I'm gonna go crazy. I mean, not crazy. I'm just gonna laugh really hard, probably. But okay, I gotta do the other one now, right? We've got to check the other one to see if it also has 2 1 carbons. Don't tell me that they're doing this loot RNG to newbies. Yeah, I know, right? Curious if they're punishing me for using a ship that shouldn't be used in the region. I mean, that would be a crazy level of tech that they've never displayed. Is it possible to self-destruct inside of Exordium? I assume so. Let's land. Self-destruct. Yes. Yep, you can. Wait, hold on. Is that true? Hold on. How do I cancel the self-destruct now? Wait. Abort self-destruct sequence. Jesus fucking Christ. Why did that not show up right away? Okay. Well, that made me nervous for just a second. I mean, at least it would have been on stream, right? That would have made it better. And we just lost the clip of the decade. That'd be pretty wild. I'd be like, I'd be screaming at the computer. Oh my god, that'd been great. There, I do have a video titled, what was it? The Abyss Can't Get Me, so CCP cheated. That's, if you ever want to see me like legitimately go through panic attacks, or escalating levels of panic while playing Eve, that video is the one. Oh, hey, look, real loot. We got real loot. There's real loot. I was just getting fucked with last time. That's fine. I mean, this is real loot, but, you know, that's fine. Come on. Don't be that bad at trying to fly. I think the players are leaving trash behind to mess around with other players. No, because if that was true, then this can would already be hacked, and it would say that you don't need any more things. You can't hack a can that's already been hacked. I am rich. Ah, see? I got a whole million out of this site. Definitely everybody should just move to Exordium and do stuff here, because that's clearly the best way to make money. All right. Let's see. Well, we got all those done. FC did say Exordium would be open, but no content at first. Well, this is the content that's available. That's going to be in Exordium. Basically, everything besides the Epic Arc and the career agents are currently in Exordium. That relic site? These are training sites. These are the actual, like, this is an MPE system. So those are just the career agent sites. Will be good practice nonetheless, and I definitely want to actually finally get some Abyss done. What's been done already? Hey, there's a jackdaw here. What do you know? Maybe we'll make it for... Oh, no, he left. I think that was level 4 data. That was a level 5 data site, for the record. Something tells me that's a mistake. No loot, no loot. Hey, loot. One spec, yeah, the Echelon did. But everything about that Echelon kill looks like somebody figured out how to get the dual system to work in a particular way in Exordium, and then like killed it on purpose as a way of like putting it on the Z kill. You have a safe place to fly your Interbus shuttle. That's true. What about friendly fire enabled? That is one of the suspicions about how the Nestor got killed, because the Nestor is killed by its own corp member. We can see that the Nestor was killed by the same corp member, or the same corp. So chances are that might have been friendly fire within the corporation or something. And then a couple of these were because of a relationship between, probably something to do with faction warfare. Actually, the Echelon, hold on. The Echelon and the Condor were killed by the same guy. So chances are this guy figured out however this works and tried it with his Condor, and then upgraded to the Echelon. Yeah, because he used the same mechanism. Gallente Federation, Caldari State. From my understanding, that's what's happening, is that some faction warfare stuff isn't being shut off correctly. I heard that kill rights are still activatable in there. I have not heard that. Like I said, I got this from Fenris, like inside information, whatever you want to call it. Like the problem was faction warfare and something about dueling. All right. What else? Do we want to try anything else while we're here? Is there anything else I'm missing? I guess we could look at some missions, but I mean the missions are going to just be the same. I've already looked at some of the missions; they're just the same. We've already done a few of these sites. Obviously, you know, like we haven't gotten any rare spawns, we haven't gotten any escalations. So that doesn't mean that they're not possible, because we haven't done enough to really even begin to rule out even bad luck, let alone whatever. I think it's a fun little space. So I can stage a gank using my catalyst to kill a court mate in a venture, and then go like, "Grr, look, you can get ganked in Exordium." That's my understanding. That there is a weird way to get around it, but it's not something that's just being done to like randomly kill people. Like both parties involved kind of have to go through certain steps. Oh, you guys want to say hi to my son? You want to come say hi? You can come say hi. We're chilling out now. Sit down.
Hi.
Yeah. Hey.
How's it going?
Oh, and here comes Zoe too. That's a good way to get Zoe here. How you doing?
Pretty good.
What you been working on?
Just trying to get myself to go get a muffin.
Okay, well that's fair. But also,
Lighting's in the way.
I meant like game development stuff. You've been doing game development stuff, haven't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You made a rollerball game?
Yeah.
And anything else?
I've been making just general fun projects.
Yeah. You should keep it up. You can go get a muffin. Oh, don't bump the mic too much. Teach him how to play. What we're gonna do is when Exordia, or when the expansion comes, my plan is to have him try the new player experience. So he has dabbled a little bit in Eve, but I don't know. He's very he plays games with like creative mode where he can build like big stuff and all that stuff, less than like whatever. But I do want to try out the MPE with him. He wants to try it out too, so we'll probably be doing that once it's out. Oh, hey, look, there's 2 signatures to scan, and there's a raid here. It should be a fun experiment. I agree. Why doesn't he have a beard yet? He's 12? I do, yeah. I have been wanting to get him into Frontiers. Oh, we've got more rats. Or this site has a guy in it already. This is going to be a data site that's hard to scan down, probably. No rare spawn there. Yep, this is a data site, so probably going to be the same setup as the last 2. Jiminy Christmas. First up. Yep, Same one. It's odd. That means that there's like, is there no relic sites around here? Apparently people like to do this in a jackdaw, as it would seem. Unless it's the same guy. Yeah, they're all dead. Yeah, hopefully someday. Hopefully someday. I'm just very proud of him. He's getting into game development stuff, which is very fun. It's true. Relic sites are where the real money's at. So today I teach my son how to mine. Day 3. Hey guys, my son somehow emancipated himself and stole at 11 and stole my car and ran away. Oh, hey, I spoke too soon. Here we go. There's a relic site. There's a relic site, guys. It's a relic site. It's a level 5 relic site. I mean, the SOE are the bad guys all along. It's true that relic sites are generally more, or like data sites are definitely better than relic sites in HiSec. But I mean, like I did the 2 data sites and we haven't gotten a single condenser yet. I'm very interested to see whether or not you can get condensers in these recs, or in the data sites at least. Would it make sense? Can't have relics where they supposedly none have been before? Yeah, except apparently you can. I still don't like the fact that the relic sites use like Terran structures, even though it's like Garistas. Oh, what? Things are blowing up when I get close. Oh wow, intact shield. So half a million from this one can. That's kind of cool. Ugh. Man, I should have brought a faster ship. Oh. Can't remember. Is T1 Abyss Filaments the one's called Calm? Yes. Calm is T1, Tranquil is T0. Whoever does a Soldier of Fortune career mission with a civil warp disruptor, think about it. Does it actually point, yet the pirate you use it on can't flee? Paid actor? Well, yeah. Well, yeah, it's career training. All right, we're going to finish this site, and then we probably will be wrapping things up unless somebody can throw out there something else that we need to dig into today. I'm already going to have to slow boat this whole... I should have done my pounce thing. I've been like, oh yeah, you know, they're so close together, it's fine. This is why I set up pounces when I do hacking. Oh, I can hack it now. Never mind. As a matter of fact, I am going to do a pounce to the other one. Crap. So what I'm going to do is this one's 43 kilometers away, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move in the opposite direction. Oh. I'm going to go in the opposite direction of this remain. So that way I can get to more than 50 kilometers away. And I'm going to jump. Orcas should be allowed in here, sure. So now I'm 140 kilometers away. I should have made a slightly better angle, but now I only have to travel 10 kilometers. What's the mining situation in there, please? And what did you say about Abyssals in 0.9 now? Yes, you can use, you can do Tier 0 Abyss in 0.9 and 1.0 systems now. The mining, so there are special mining sites that allow only ventures and corvettes inside of them, but then there's also belts, which appear as beacons instead of belts, that seem to just are open and have Scordite and Veldspar, approximately 4,000 to 7,000 units, or M3, per rock. So an excavator should take like 5, or not excavator, exhumer should take like 5 minutes or so per rock for a single strip miner to melt the rock. I also, from my understanding, inside of the oh, we should go inside of one of the belts. We need to go inside of one of the belts. That's what we need to do. Because my understanding is that there's a booster, there's an NPC that does boosts inside of the sites. So I want to check that out for sure before we get done today. Yay! What a perfect end. All right. I don't know what any of these systems are, so let's just go to manifest. Can I spell? Do I know how to spell? I do know how to spell. Yay! Yeah, there's a porpoise inside of the mining area. We're going to look at that. What faction I can kill them? Don't know if there's one in the Concord managed areas provide boosts, but the one in the Empire areas provide a basic foreman boost. No, well, I don't think there is one in the is there a Concord managed belt? I think they're just Empire managed belts. Combat sites in normal space have mineable rocks. Is that true here also? I assume that missions would have mineable rocks in them, potentially. I haven't seen anything that would say that that isn't true. That might be a good way to spawn mining rocks in here. We'd have to test that. I can envision some absolutely blingy abyssal rolled strip miners being used here, whether it's efficient or not. And don't forget those new officer mining laser enhancements. In the Concord areas, you can descan ore mining fields, so there's clearly a presence. Oh, wait, is that true? You can descan? What do you mean by you can descan ore mining fleets? Are the NPCs new types or from normal high sec? I don't think they put anything new in today besides environments. So it would have had to have been... Oh, there's ore mining rats. Oh. Well, that's probably fine. Maybe I'll just get myself an officer bit Babaraga. Do what? Level 2 missions with your Babaraga? That'd be pretty funny. All right, let's go look at one of these inside of these fields. Should also check for NPC compression with boosts. Yeah, we'll try that. Gotta put a skin on. Gotta put a skin on. The rats in the Empire mining sites also show up on D-Scan as diamond rats. I think that they just can't prevent those from happening. It'll just be the same as normal belt rat mining rats. Which, by the way, do not actually extract any ore anymore. Here we go. Yep. So there's a bunch of Caldari State mining ventures. And there is only Veldspar. All Veldspar, grade 0. And I get this command burst. And the command burst is not on a timer. It's just as long as I'm in here. I have a 5% mining module range bonus and a negative 5% duration and capacitor use bonus. This is literally like not even as good as the bonuses just on eating comm systems. So that's fine. Oh, and here is the porpoise that's allegedly giving out the boost. You can even see it doing boosts. That's kind of cool. And then now that I have the Veldspar, I cannot compress. So the porpoise does not provide compression, but it does provide boosts. I'm going to go grab my Odysseus, and then we'll head back into Concord space and see if I can find one of them in there. I can bump them? Yeah, but it doesn't do anything. Still a very pretty sight. Hold on. Can I attack them? God, this is a bad... Don't do this, guys. I don't think I'm going to be able to. Nope, hold on. Hold on. Actually, let me double check. I don't want to be too silly. Hold on. Whatever. That's fine. Let's shoot. I did it! I can shoot! What's gonna happen? Hold on, what's gonna happen? Do they shoot back? Do they get mad at me? Are they gonna get mad at me? I'm not doing damage. Oh, I'm hitting now. I hit him. I'm not going to do any amount of damage. I'm not going to do a significant amount of damage. But the potential's here now, guys. You can shoot them. They don't seem to be shooting me back. Nothing bad's happening yet. I'm never going to be able to kill this guy with this ship. I'm going to have to go... That's it. We're going to have to set up a killing venture. I can't get in here in the Odysseus. It has to be a venture or a corvette. So we're now going to have to make like a gank venture to come in here with some blasters and some drones and see what we can do. I'm sure it's going to just do nothing for you. You get nothing for it. But that's pretty funny. All right, let's go ahead and grab my Corvette. Or my Odysseus. I don't get it. When I try to join local channel, it says I've been banned from local. I don't know what to tell you about that one. it's hurting my ADHD brain that there isn't a second Gallente construction site on par with the one in Omignon. That's actually a really good point. So there's a bunch of other construction sites that got put up. I think that that some of these construction sites, some of them are Stargate, some of them are potentially the end point for the shipcaster. Which, here's an interesting thing about that. Okay, the construction for that's going on in around Intaki isn't in Intaki. So hold on. If we go open up the map, we can see Mehator. We can go to Mehator, and we can see that DD agent site report. Why is this being bad? Don't be bad. All right, we can see here there is an Imperial, or there's a construction site there, and that is one of the new construction sites. So there appears to be a bunch of new construction sites being put up at the same time. It was brought up in Eve Universe show channel. We have people have been talking a lot. Oh no, where is it? Okay. Yeah. So we have Mehator, Kamerk, Jakri, Raynet, Pakshi, and Kasagainen. So some of those are more interesting than others. Pakshi, it has a construction site. That's where Project Discovery Phase 2 monument was. And it's somewhat close to, it's part of the, it's close to the Concord space. I mean, it's part of Genesis. Where's Uli? Orifei should be next to Uli. Is Uli over here? Where's Uli? On this map. Hold on. Where's Genesis? This is Genesis. So it should be in here. There's Monarch. There's Orifei. Oh, I'm sorry. It's right there. Yeah, so we have the construction site there. But we also have one in Pakshi. We also have one in Kasagainen. Which would put it in the Citadel with a bunch of Caldari Navy stuff. We have Jakri. Has a construction site. And it is in, it's right near Araz, or it is in Araz. In Kador? Merc and Genesis. Oh, I see it. Mehator and Devoid. Amar has the most of them. They have 4 of them that we've detected so far. Caldari have 2. Gallente have 1. Only in Omignon. Is there any in Mimitar space? The reason why I think Omignon is really interesting is that Omignon was a system of major buildup, but it is the system that links to Intaki, right? It's where they built the Stargate that linked to Intaki, and it was the system that was originally going to link to Othanoon when that was what was going to do. So I imagine probably this Amignon is going to be the end gate for the Galente project. Maybe. I would have expected these to be the endpoints for the shipcasters, but now I'm starting to think that this construction is going to be related to the military campaigns. Although that doesn't really make sense with the Caldari one, because like if you're connecting Pakshi to Kasagainen, that's closer to Concord space instead of Syndicate. I'm not sure. I don't know what's going on with these new construction yards, but we're going to definitely have to pay attention to them. I think the two Cador construction is to create a bypass for the low-sec systems. Maybe. We don't really know. Yeah, the Uli construction site is the manifest site. True. Caldari is to bypass Galente space to get to Uli. It's possible as well. I don't know. I'm not sure. We're going to have to pay closer attention to those things, but it is true that they were detected, and being on in the Discord is the best way to get the latest and greatest and all this sort of stuff. You know, you can hop into the Discord and come hang out. There's the Eve Universe Show channel where we discuss all kinds of stuff that's going on. And of course, you can always join the Convocation Empyreans. Hey, Sargon. All right. Well, I think we are going to wrap things up here. I do plan to come back on Thursday. I assume that we're going to do at least one more stream today on Thursday. We're going to see if there's anything more to learn or talk about. Maybe we'll just explore the remains of what's the Capsuleer Day event. I'm not 100% sure, but I do see that Morcar has given us another giveaway. So we'll be doing that on Thursday as well. Hello. Oh, yeah, we need to go figure out... I'm sorry, we need to go see the Concord, see if there's Concord mining sites. Don't leave quite yet. We're going to finish off. We're going to go check out see if there's Concord mining sites and see if there's any differences there. Oh, shit, forgot. I came here to get my Odysseus. Make sure to like the stream and subscribe to the channel. Use the buddy code if you've never used it before to get 1,000,000 free skill points. Consider becoming a supporter of the stream. You can buy merchandise. You can become a member. You can become a patron. There's a lot of other stuff, too. I really, really appreciate it, you guys. I do recommend, like I said, I have 10 hours total of breakdown of all of the important stuff from FanFest. I did a special stream on Saturday that was like 8 hours long. So it's worth going back and checking those out. There's news about EVE Online, EVE Frontiers, and EVE Vanguard. You know, good stuff. I'm excited about all 3 projects, by the way. Yeah, he's awesome. So is Zoe. Zoe's down there laying down right now. Oh, yep, hold on. Like, hello? You call me? Make sure to like the stream for the guineas and the puppies. Your guys' support is the reason why I'm able to take good care of them. This system is still owned by the Caldari. They should do another faction Corvette drop, except instead of pirates, it'd be minor faction Corvettes. Khanid, Amar, Tucker, Syndicate. That'd be cool. Oh yeah, no. Zoe is amazing. And I do have videos of her on my second channel, the Tgen Tgen channel. Classic video of Bombeldo fighting the last boss in Eve. I have no idea what you're talking about, Seventh Heaven. I'm not gonna lie. All right, now I'm in Concord space. Is there... Hold on, actually, before we go. Nope, there's nothing in this current... I don't think... Hold on. Is there... Let's check out this system. Wait, we can just go here and check for anomalies, right? Are we looking for anomalies? I don't even... I have no idea what we're looking for, even. We're looking for... mining, but would that be resource harvesting or anomalies? Maybe. Oh yeah, never mind, hold on, wait, why does it say current system has... Am I crazy? What? Maybe they're gone? Maybe it's wrong? What? Hold on. What if I hit warp to location? Unable to warp to it. Unable to warp to it. Okay. Well, let's try Forte then. I didn't know where the ore rats were, but they did appear on D-Scan and Manifest at least. Overview? The normal asteroid belt is on the overview, but the managed belts aren't. And I still can't warp to the asteroid belt, even though I'm in the system. You are worth 12 AU from it. The managed asteroid belt? Or the normal asteroid belt? I'm not talking about the normal asteroid belt. Those you can just warp to. Although the fact that it didn't warp to it at all is kind of weird. So yeah, once again, no scan results. I can... There's the asteroid belt there. This is my current system. I can't warp to that one. And I can't warp to that one through that method. But I can warp to it through this method. Which means... Hold on. God damn it, we're doing this. If I can D-scan, I should be able to D-scan... I get all. No? Can I D-scan for everything? Do I have a D-scan for everything? Default all? Here we go. There they are. Okay, so what I'm going to do is... This is a core probe launcher. God damn it. Do I have an expanded probe launcher on me? I don't think so. I would need to combat probe those guys to find it. And that seems just a little bit too hard, like, try hard for me right now. So I'm going to leave that to you guys if you're interested in testing that. They're apparently out there, but they're not warpable from anywhere. No, I just grabbed my... I was looking for it so that way I dock up and grab a new Corvette wherever I was. I just didn't want to leave my Odysseus behind before. So yeah, I guess you theoretically could combat probe the ore mining ships. I don't think it would do you much of anything, but you could do it. And go to the ore site and see what it looks like. I imagine it... Do I have to do this? Hold on. Let's see if Manifest even has an expanded probe launcher. All right. Freedom! If somebody had put it up on the market, I probably would have bought it and then had to go do it. But as it is, we're just going to call this good. Well, yeah, the manifest market has existed for like 12 hours. Of course, it's less than 10 hours. Of course, it sucks. I did pick up my my scanning array, my surveyor chipset from Manifest, though. So there are some things on market already. Yeah. Too much. Too much. Maybe we'll try it another time. All right. Well, all that said, I've been Ashtarothi. I've been playing this game since 2010, talking about since 2012. I'm here to put Eve into context for you, my fellow Imperians. Thank you guys so much for coming and checking out the very beginnings of Manifest with me. I know it's kind of new. There's still a lot more to figure out. And of course, you know, there's the lore and very much like we're at an in-between moment right now. So the next big thing is next Tuesday is going to be the start of the final week of the event. And then the event, of course, ends 1 week after that. And then 1 week after that is the expansion. So probably going to be more news and some other stuff between now and then. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and head on into the Discord so you can get the latest and greatest about what's going on in EVE Online. But all that said, I would like to give a special shout out. I already listed off all the people earlier. I'm going to call that good. We're going to say, I've been Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden. And until next time, I'll see you in space. And this time you can't shoot me because I'm in Manifest. Haha. 07. I lied. My son wants to come in one more time. Come on. Come come say goodbye. They want you to try out Eve. Are you going to be willing to try out Eve on when the expansion comes out on the 9th?
Probably.
Probably. You're going to make a new character and go through the MPE?
Yeah.
You going to do it on stream?
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. I bet you could. They'll support you. They got your back, right? Right, guys? You got your back? All right. 07, guys.
07.
Bring on the wrecking machine.
Thank you for the super chat, too.
Let it burn. every city